Here we are live. We're recording.
Is there a reason why you wanted me to record?
Yeah, that way you'll have it on your end. I don't have to send.
Eh. Oh, look at that. So smart. Like, why would you want me to record?
Well, there you go.
Kristen.
It's all yours. You wanted a copy, right?
I did, yes. I'm getting what I asked for and looking like a fool for it, per usual.
All right. So we're going to talk about banter, talk about verbal communication, and how that applies to approaching, dating, having good relationships. Um, a lot of the work, guys, that I've been talking about recently is nonverbal communication because so much communication is nonverbal. But we're
Yeah.
actually going to talk about verbal communication today. And Kristen's an expert in that. And she has a really cool philosophy around that level of communication and why it's so important. And you guys that have been in the workshops with Kristen and I, and been fortunate enough to be there, have learned how important this skill set is. So, talk to us about banter. What is it?
Well, before I answer what banter is, I love you saying philosophy, that I have a philosophy, which I do. I do have a philosophy, but I'm so like, I can't not make jokes about like, I'm like the Socrates of banter. Like, it sounds so absurd to me, like my philosophy of banter, but
I
it is much more serious
I thought
and
you were
has more
Socrates.
weight than people really understand. Yeah. So if you want to speak technically, banter is the pleasant exchange of fun remarks in a good humored manner. Like that's basically what the dictionary will say.
What do you say? We know.
What do I say? I say that's the worst definition ever. Uh, because it doesn't do the service to banter that it should. No, it's not the worst definition, but it absolutely doesn't capture the gravitas or gravitas banter actually can have. And yes, it is light and good humored, but that doesn't mean you can think lightly. Like it actually takes a strong sense of self to be able to banter in a good humored, light way. And so the definition makes it seem easy breezy, and it can be, and it will be, and it absolutely is for certain people that are born with that ability. But um, it's skill. It's like a legit skill, and it can make and break you. Yes, it can do both, but it can make or break you in so many different scenarios, whether it's obviously dating or climbing the ladder at your job. Like you want your boss to want to be around you. I mean, you might not want to be around your boss, but those things will take you so far. So, yeah,
Do you
that's
think a good banterer is curious, is comfortable with themselves internally, um, is socially aware?
yeah. You can't banter without being comfortable with yourself because banter requires you to not run your thoughts through a filter. And if you're insecure and uncomfortable with yourself, you're going to be doing that all day long and not getting close to anything remotely similar to banter. Um, so you have to be self-assured so that you can have a point of view. So banter doesn't exist without someone having a point of view. And there's examples that I have like in my banter guide and that will be in my banter masterclass that show conversations between men and women. And it's just focused on men and women because I coach men on dating, but it can apply to anything. But it shows you the conversation of trying to banter without a point of view and without perspective and opinions and self-assuredness
Yeah,
versus
I don't see how
where
you could banter at all without a point of view, right? Like,
you can't.
let's just take a pizza shop, for example, right? Somebody that doesn't have an opinion on a pizza shop isn't going to be able to walk or drive to that pizza shop and share any kind of good times about it, right? And if that person hates the pizza shop, now you've got something to work on. I don't know why we're going here. Like, what are you talking about? This is the best pizza ever. No, you just don't have any good taste. Like, and it's just this back and forth exchange, which is banter. And we kind of do it all the time. At least most people, I would think, do it all the time. But I don't know that they actually know what they're doing and how to use it to their advantage, like you're talking about, where you're meeting somebody totally new who doesn't have opinion about you and you don't have an opinion about them from a dating context other than the visual attraction to each other potentially. And that's most guys' experience. How do I banter with someone I don't know anything about based on kind of what you're saying? You need a viewpoint. Well, the only viewpoint that guy has in his mind is that, oh, that girl's attractive and that this is scary. So how would you banter out of that situation or banter in that situation?
Yeah. So the way that you're asking that question makes me think of banter being directed only about her and at her. So you don't, with someone you don't know, you don't banter about them necessarily quite yet. You banter in general. You banter, and when I say in general, I do mean actually kind of specific, but that's kind of down the road for maybe 20 minutes, 30, 48 hours into this conversation. Um, but you banter about the environment. That's where you start when you don't know somebody, or the shared experience you're both having, or the experience maybe she says she had on her way over to the date, or your experience, in the Uber and like you're like, I swear to God, I don't wear this much cologne. It stuck to me from the Uber driver, right? Like, so you're
We all know that
taking,
guy.
yeah.
All been in that Uber.
So you're taking experiences, the environment, and nuances about living and bringing them to life and calling them out. Then, once she starts sharing a little bit more, then you can banter more directly about her with her in a flirtatious or non-flirtatious way. But yeah, you don't start with the person unless there is something that is genuinely sticking out that is like a neon sign that you can't not say to this person about this person. It could be something complimentary. You don't want to generally, in my opinion, start with complimentary because you're immediately giving up your power. But because it's banter, you are getting a little bit of your power back because it's a strength and it's a uh, could possibly be an intimidating skill to have if the other person doesn't have it. So you may be getting some of your upper hand, so to speak, back. There is dynamics, power dynamics in dating, of course, but in banter. So if we were to banter about her right off the get-go, you would want it to be very, very genuine of something that you've noticed. So you don't force in the, oh, I like your shoes and start bantering about shoes unless you fucking love her shoes. Are you gay? Maybe. So maybe don't start with that. It's always funny to me how guys will compliment women's shoes because it is like the gayest thing. Like when men are talking about shoes. Also, of course, men, I like when they have good taste in shoes. But Um, so you want to be very stringent on your expect or stringent isn't really the right word. You want to have really high standards for what you're going to be calling out about her to banter about, because otherwise it's going to come across as pleasing, like me, nice guy
Yep.
behavior when banter's supposed to take that energy kind of away.
Yeah. So he should have a really strong opinion. Like if he's complimenting shoes or saying something about shoes, like he should have a very strong opinion about shoes from a place that kind of makes sense. Like he's a fashion guy, he's a cobbler, like he
Right. He
yeah,
came from 1602.
yeah, he knows like about like the leather mafia in Italy or something
Yes.
crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
And having that stand that point to stand on and start the banter um in the way that you're saying. It's funny that you're talking about start with the environment, right? Um I was standing in a Starbucks in New Zealand and I was talking to a friend and I didn't start this interaction, a girl did. She said, she goes, "Oh, you're an American?" She's like, "Well, this Starbucks just opened. Is it like the ones in the US?" And I said, "Yes, it's an absolute piece of shit, just like the ones in the US."
Perfect.
And her
Mwah.
and her jaw just dropped, and her friend turns around and gives me like the stare of death, and like her jaw, she's like, "What do you mean?" And I wasn't there to get coffee. I was meeting friends, and I end up walking through the entire line with them, telling them how shitty Starbucks really is, and they just wouldn't stop. So we had this like 5-10 minute banter thing going on waiting in this line about how shitty Starbucks was. But they were like, well, we're still getting our coffee anyway. And I'm like, great, drink that garbage. I was like, you've got better coffee shops up the street. So
I
I,
wish I was standing in line next to you because I love Starbucks and I would have been going at we would have had a back and forth, like
yeah,
a
like,
hardcore.
like we did. We totally did.
Yeah.
So, that was using the environment. The environment is Starbucks coffee shop.
Right. Right. And so you have a strong point of view on it and you were not afraid to say it.
Exactly.
We're conditioned in the society that we live in this day and age, to not offend and to be politically correct. And the benefit of being from, not that I'm from New York City, I live in New York City, I'm from New York State, but it still has a bit of that energy of honesty, tell it like it is, no holds bar. It's so much healthier. And it's interesting to me because demographics do matter. Like in certain parts of the country, you say something like that, people's jaw drops. You say that in New York, and people are like, "Yeah, fuck this place." Like,
Exactly.
I'm walking here, but it's like, wait, no, you're standing in line. You know, uh, Chicago though, even though Chicago's a city, it's Midwestern, and so their energy is a bit different. And I lived in Chicago for a couple of years, and I remember noticing people being like kind of taken aback when I would just be like how like real. I would just say something not, and these were generally more maybe tourists coming into the city, but they're all like Midwesty type of people. Not everybody, of course, is like a shy little strawberry there. I don't know what that means. But that would hit the same way in Chicago or in the Midwest as it would probably in New Zealand because they're not used to hearing that.
Yeah.
So the benefit of being somewhere where people don't talk like that is you immediately stand out of the crowd.
Yeah.
And
Polarizing.
polarizing, people will love you or they'll hate you. And that's great. If everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong. It means you're not being true to yourself. It means you're not, it means you're, falling to the whims of other people. So that woman in Starbucks in New Zealand, that maybe left an imprint on her and gives her something to banter about and maybe brought something out in her
Mhm.
that she realized, oh, I do kind of stay reserved and keep everything inside. And the studies show, and I was saying this since I was like in the womb, essentially. People connect more over things that they don't like than they do like. And so in dating, a lot of men lead with hobbies, and it drives me insane because that's not you. That is you doing something. That's anyone can do that hobby if they want. No one, not everybody can have a great personality. And so you want to sell yourself with your great personality. And then the skiing and all the hobbies that you do are a cherry on top.
Yeah.
And so people are generally much more hobby driven in conversation than they are point of view driven in conversation when they're on a date, when they're getting to know people they don't know. And it's safe. It's way too safe, and nothing really kills attraction like playing it safe. So you saying that, like if I was in line at Starbucks and I heard you say that, even though I like Starbucks, I know it's shit, but like I like it. If I heard you say that, I would be like, oh, that was kind of hot. The guy just said that, like that, because this man knows what he wants, knows what he likes, and isn't afraid to say it. But he's not a dick. They easily can be
I,
conflated
I,
in it.
I politely told her this is shit and you're wasting your time and money and there's better coffee shops right up the street.
Right. Right. And so that's authentic, it's real, and it's something that we're all desperately lacking in today's society is authenticity. So
Mhm.
banter is authenticity. If you are able to access your guttural thoughts and opinions and real feelings. Otherwise, you'll be forcing out fake opinions. So you have to be able to be in touch with what you really think about things and have a perspective. And I always talk about having a big opinion on small things. Like, what is the best pen in the fucking world? Like, anyone who doesn't use this pen is insane. This is the pen. If you think the other pen is better, you know, you're you're a few, screws, you've got a few screws loose or whatever. You just get really exaggerated on
Yeah.
the small things. And that's a comedic device, like exaggeration. And so that can be natural. Like I'm passionate like that about the small things. Um, and some people that I work with, or a lot of people I work with, will be passionate, but don't realize that this whole time they have had passionate points of view on the mundane. They just have had no reason to share it in the world that they're living in,
Yeah.
or no one to share it with.
I wouldn't say like food is super mundane, but I have very big opinions on a specific pizza shop, which is why I brought up pizza shops earlier, and steak. I have huge opinions on that. And like most
As you should.
people, like certain places, they're like, oh, this is great. I'm like, this is absolute shit and I will not eat here. You know,
Yeah,
like they can't do their steak right. They over fucking cook it, whatever. Like I just go on a rant. And that starts a dialogue. Well, why? And now I can explain. Well, because of this, the flavors, whatever, it's cooked right. So, not that food is a mundane thing, but like an ink pen, right? Like you don't use the Bic 203 whatever dash one fine point pen. What are you, like a child in kindergarten?
right. You might as well just use a number two pencil.
Exactly. Or why don't you get your crayons out of your box?
Exactly. Yeah. And so these little nuances. So when you say food isn't necessarily mundane, you're right. No, it's not mundane to certain people. So some of the things, like I always ask my guys, I always ask about bowling, and people will see that like in my banter course, like uh I'm turning everybody into the dude from what's it called? But I just talk about bowling specifically because it's something that people have an opinion on, but they don't think about it. because they don't know they have an opinion. Um, and there's so much to play with there. But uh, I, yeah, this is, I like blank out. I'm like, what was I just saying about bowling?
Hold
Um, oh, big opinion, sorry,
Yeah, big
or
opinion
things
on
being
small things.
mundane. So I will present sometimes to guys, we want to have big opinions on small things. And then I start with bowling and I'll gener generally tease about the fact that, well, it could be a big deal to like people that I grew up around because I grew up in like a podunk white trash town.
Yeah,
So when I say small things, I would, I would be uh, shot by the firing squad where I'm from. Like people here bowl, like that's a Friday night rock and bowl. Like that's a,
absolutely.
so things can be mundane to certain people and not to others. But the whole thing is whether or not it's mundane, it's life. It's a piece of life we've all experienced. And so I point to the mundane or the minutia just to guide men away from trying to banter about, because when basically I say have big opinions on small things, because I'm afraid if I say have big opinions, they're going to think I mean, because if I ever in a coaching session ask a guy, do you have big opinions? They immediately default to thinking I'm asking like big opinions on politics and religion and like all the taboo stuff. We're obviously like on a first date, not fully going to banter about that stuff. So I'm just trying to push away. I mean, you can if you know you're on the same page, or maybe you're not on the same page and it's a fun, pushy banter. But generally, we want to have big opinions on small things for the sake of having banter that isn't gonna get aggressive
Mhm.
on a date. And I think people are smart enough to realize that, but when I say have big opinions, they automatically just think I'm talking about
Yeah,
the
all the big
big
topics
thing.
that are, supercharged items for everybody,
Super, especially right now, obviously.
of course.
Yeah. But what's crazy actually is I see a lot of men with their dating profiles that say not political. But I think that's because they probably are kind of political, but they don't want to miss out on a hot chick if
Mhm.
like she's maybe liberal and he's not or some. I think people are kind of avoiding it in a way so they can have a bigger pool to select from because it's like if your opinions don't align, then you're out. So I have noticed that
Totally.
a lot of the guys that come around that I see their profiles say like not political, but they are political.
Yeah, exactly. If you're
Yeah.
political, just
It
be
just
political.
basically says like want to get laid.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's like, oh, you have no balls.
yeah, I have no balls. I'm cutting them off because I want to get laid. So my opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, even if guys skip that question, right, through their photos, they could still signal a political affiliation.
Oh, absolutely.
Want to. Like it's really like that's another way to do it. Like that's self-selecting. It's like, is this woman aware enough to like get these things that I'm doing that says, hey, I'm this affiliation or that affiliation.
Yeah. And so you bring up a good point because, that's that's social intelligence. And so many men and women, but I say men because I work with men specifically, so I'm more aware of what's going on with them, but they won't read the tea leaves, so to speak, or they can't, or maybe they can, but they are so fixated on, I just need to get her number. This girl's hot. I
Mhm.
want to go out with this chick. I need a date. And so those little things that you would pick up on in a profile or in person if you're, meeting somebody in an approaching kind of scenario, they will not notice any of those. It's like their brain isn't multitasking.
Yep.
It's just focused on like, I need her number. And so they overlook all of these moments that I call uh, turkey leg moments. So there's in Banter when I teach it, I talk about chicken wing, turkey leg. So many men brush over so many opportunities for banter and tease and play and fun conversation because they're not hearing what
Sure.
is actually being said or taking in what's actually happening.
100%. I see it all the time, constantly. Like literally, I've seen women put it on a silver platter, like
Yes,
there right in front of them, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, but the New England Patriots did this and that." It's like, bro, come on. Like,
it's like, no, you just missed the biggest chunk of meat to tap into of whatever she just said that you can tease her about, talk about, get to know her more about, be playful with. And so I advocate for looking, whether it's in your environment or through verbal words, for the turkey leg.
yeah,
And it's up to you to find the turkey leg because you can see everything as a chicken wing. It's just one bite of meat and done. That's it.
yeah.
But
Where's the juicy giant leg, right? You know?
right, right. And there's generally always a juicy leg underneath pretty much everything. It could be, you know, simply a coffee order, and a guy could look at that as a chicken wing. But if you actually really pay attention to what it is and what it is not, that can say a lot about her, and that can lead you down a lot of different fun paths. But also, I say fun with the caveat that banter can actually take you to deeper depths because you're being truthful in banter.
Like like you brought up, was it coffee you brought up?
Yeah,
I was just saying, like, you see some attractive girl in Starbucks and she's got what the tall ones, like the venti or whatever the fuck it's called.
right. The pumpkin spice and
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like, oh, you got a big one today, huh? So a long night. Was the sex good? Right? Like, she would just be like, what the fuck? But like you have an
Right,
opinion on why she's got this big coffee.
right.
It's like, who else is gonna go up and say something like that first and foremost, but also who who's going to take that coffee that's just a large coffee and turn it into an experience? And I think that's what you're saying with all of the
Exactly.
banter. It's like, let's take, like you said, the small thing and have a big opinion on it. Well, if a girl's got a large coffee and she looks a little tired, like leading with that is a big opinion. And it also opens everything up to be quite an experience, an edgy one, and high tension one for sure. But
Yeah,
that's what sets you apart when you have the ability to banter, that wit, the kind of comedic fun of conversation inside of you, whether you do it naturally or learn from you how to do it. Um, it's an amazing tool.
it is. And I'm so glad that you mentioned experience because part of my philosophy, I surpass Marcus Aurelius, I surpass all of the guys. One of my philosophies with dating is make it an experience again. Like, let's make life an experience again. And that can start on very small micro levels. And I'm not just talking about like the guys with the micropeens. I'm talking about, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
m making an experience out of going to Starbucks, out of having to run to CVS. We have, I don't know, I haven't lived in another era that I'm aware of. I think maybe I did live in the 1920s if I did live in another time. But to me, I could be romanticizing the past, but it does feel like this world at this juncture is very mundane. You're online dating and it's like a conveyor belt, like of, just the same person, the same clone coming down. You guys send the same exact text and then move along, don't hear from her again. Next one comes down and it's the same experience over and over and over. And it just feels like um, so many people have accepted this kind of clone life. Like we we're all kind of driving the same car, saying the same thing. Like, let's like make it interesting again. And it starts on that small level of conversation. Just you turned that woman's experience at Starbucks into an experience.
Yeah. It was an experience. It was epic.
Yeah. And like that's what part of me, like I love living in New York City because you never know when there's going to be a guy in a pizzeria who's standing next to you who's like, either like, this is the best fucking pizza.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, it is great pizza. And then because banter doesn't always need to be negative. And then all of a sudden we're bantering. So I'm not just having a slice of pizza and isolated and like, I don't need to talk to every human being. But if that comes along, he just gave me an experience.
Sure.
That was just some, more life living that I did in a 5 minute span that I wasn't expecting to fit life living into. I thought I was just grabbing a slice, you know? Um, so it's a service to not just yourself, but like to the world. Like I want to make life an experience again.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So for the guys watching, right, they need to have an opinion about pretty much everything in life. And some things have bigger opinions than others. Um, you need to be willing to vocalize your opinion on things. You need to be able to step into the emotional tension of bantering back and forth. You got to be able to handle the tension that's getting pushed on you as much as you push on her. And another thing is guys will try to start to banter and they'll try to lob something out there, and then the girl will receive it and she'll hammer him right back. And so instead of upping that one more level, he gives his power away, like you're talking about, and succumbs to that instead of going on the attack, going back, throwing in a bigger bomb into the situation and creating even more tension. And then her volleying that back, and you volley it back just completely out of this world, totally crazy comment about something. And then she's like, oh, finally.
Yeah.
And then she goes more into her feminine. She's like, oh, now I can
Hmm.
somebody I can play, somebody that doesn't cower when I push back one little bit. Like me personally, I love those types of exchanges. It's like I say something, somebody volleys something bigger back to me, boom, I go back bigger, it comes back bigger, and then just completely over the moon, over the top with the next one, and then it's done. And now we can play with that. We've established some type of connection, some type of
Hmm.
respect for each other,
Hmm.
and then we can build rapport if we want. We can banter some more about funny stuff. Like we can go a lot of different ways, but that initial banter is so, so important.
Yeah, it gives you, instead of having one road to take with somebody, it gives you like 10 to choose from. Like, which direction do we want to go now? Because it surpasses the typical getting to know somebody like at lightning speed. You
Yeah,
you jump levels with the person
you do.
so quickly when you establish with banter and you start with banter. And yeah, if you're trying to work up to banter, it's a lot more difficult. I always say it's like trying to push a boulder up a mountain when you start conversation politely and safely, and then you want to try to have some flirty, bantery conversation. She doesn't see you in that light. And so
Versus,
it's going to take a lot more work for her to believe you when you start bantering and teasing and having, this personality that can put her into her feminine. It's going to be you pushing a boulder up a mountain,
yeah,
and then maybe it gets there, but then it starts rolling backwards on you because she says something more clever or more sassy back, and you don't know how to handle it. And then the boulder rolls over you, and you're dead and you're flat.
versus being the guy that's just like, oh, there's a boulder on the edge of the mountain. Push,
Boop. Yep.
see
And
where
then it
this
just do do
goes.
do 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 do, and it just starts rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that analogy of pushing a boulder up a hill because when you do start light and easy, you do have to do more work to establish some type of connection versus going in big and bold, making a scene, so to speak, and then, oh, wow, okay, this person can really play at my level. And then as human beings, we always can quickly figure out if somebody is at our level or not,
Yeah.
and what they're going to have to do to kind of come up to our level and meet us where we are.
Yeah. And I know that that level is very intimidating for a lot of guys who don't feel adept at banter. And so then they don't start, and it only gets to be a bigger problem. So they're building that mountain that the boulder is going to have to be pushed up.
Mhm.
And so getting into the headspace of, no, I can do this. This is who I am. And stepping into that person, it's going to be awkward and there's going to be bumps along the way. And like I always say, if you're if you want to learn to juggle, you have to be willing to drop a lot of balls, like
Yeah,
more than, I don't know, perverse joke I want to insert there. But you have to. Like, there's no way to learn how to juggle
yeah,
without literally dropping a ball every time you throw up a ball at the beginning. And then maybe you won't drop one for 30 seconds. And then maybe you'll get 45 seconds. So it's the same with banter. Like, you have to be willing to mess up, get it wrong, and continue forward because it is building the muscle. It's like when you're learning to juggle and you're messing up, it doesn't mean you're getting worse. It means you're
exactly.
getting better. It means you're growing. So, so starting is important. And there's ways to start. Obviously, like people can like work with someone like work with me. I don't think there's anyone else that teaches banter at the microscopic,
Level that,
obsessive level that I do. I do feel like I was born to do this. It's the weirdest thing. It's hard. It's I won't get into it, but um, there are ways to learn without having a coach. Um, but a lot of people will like watch so and so, like Craig Ferguson. There's this viral-ish video of him. It's been out for years from these like charisma coaches or whatever of him bantering with the guests on his show, and he's great at banter. So they'll watch it and then have no steps to implement it.
yeah,
And so with me, I'm not trying to advertise myself right now, but I give people steps, places to start, and how to get the foundation there so you can even, you know, take one step. The
yeah,
starting part is like when someone posts a video like that, like, here's Craig Ferguson being super witty and funny, but then not giving any of um, the insight into what he's actually in doing tool wise or strategically wise or to get to that place or how he even made those comments. And so when you break it down, it's very you realize, oh, it's actually pretty simple and pretty easy. It's just allowing yourself to get into that headspace of, no, I can do this and I have opinions and
yeah. Put them
I'm
out
going to
there.
survive sharing them.
Yeah, totally put them out there.
Yeah.
Um, from a from a perspective of a woman that gets hit on, i.e., you.
Oh, we're talking to me? I don't, it's
Um,
been a while.
what do you like in banter? What gets you excited? What gets you to want to play in that interaction?
Oh, God. This could turn into a therapy session. I don't want to torture the people watching. I'll just say from the time I was very, very young, I witnessed banter constantly because my dad is super funny. So basically, I'm looking to get turned on by men that remind me of my dad. My dad is super funny and he's Italian. He's from this like rough around the edges Italian family. All they did was bust balls. That's all I saw. I mean, I have my mom's side of the family, very proper, white picket fencey, and then I've got the balance of this. So, um, the reason I'm referencing that is because so much of my joy from banter comes from, I think, the familiarity of of what it represents, in my life. Like that was we were having a good time at a graduation party, doing something fun, being so I immediately feel a positive feeling around it just because that's my association with it. But if we're going for more of the like, what am I looking to get out of it? What do I like, and what kind of is a turn on is to me, it it's like how birds do the mating dance, how these like tropical birds do a mating dance. And like they'll be like bouncing around, they fan out, they look like they've got like like two polka dots for eye, like um and so to me there's a huge mating quality to it that says I'm strong enough to take care of you and not financially necessarily, guys always get it twisted, but it's a strength. And I find it like, oh, okay, this is how I separate one person from the rest in terms of who is an option for me to date, to have a family with. It represents so much more than um, than just being charming. Because if you're clever and fast on your feet, it really is a sign of intelligence, and it's and with the opinion piece to it and the point of view, there's that side of masculinity and strength and ownership. And you're not the pushover guy. People aren't going to take advantage of this guy. Like he's going to be a strong anchor for my family. So that's what I think it really does for me and for a lot of women. Um, but it's also fucking hot simply for the fact that you own who you are and you're totally comfortable in your skin when you can banter.
So, question on that for the guys. Why is that hot? Why is it hot to a woman that a guy can banter, is comfortable in his skin, um, in his approach? What is that signaling to you? What is it that's sexy about it?
What's sexy about it, what it signals is, I would say the same thing, like strength. Um, I know this person isn't um, uh, weak. I don't, there's something about that, and that's strong. So there's so many women, you know, now, and there's not actually not as many as people would think that reference toxic masculinity and the patriarchy. I fucking love the patriarchy. It's the reason like I get to like do my makeup and, maybe have a dude open a door for me. I mean, I'll take the occasional hit in the face. I mean, I'm just kidding. But it's masculine. And so men sometimes think, oh, if I'm jacked and, huge muscles, that's masculine. Yeah, sure, that can be masculine. Trying too hard doesn't feel masculine when men are like overly built, unless, it's just their passion, but it can feel insecure. It feels like they're trying to prove something. But with banter, it's strength without having to have a six pack. It's
Gotcha.
the same energy to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's
Okay.
why I find it sexy.
Okay. Nice.
It's hot. I mean, it's genuinely, and sorry, as somebody who does this for a living, but also like I've done comedy for a while. So before I did this for a living, guys would occasionally say something to me that they thought they were really getting me and had no idea who they were dealing with.
can only imagine.
I can be a little bit of a word sniper, so to speak, and they're not expecting it. Uh, that to me, like it's cool that they attempted, but when they can't come back, like you mentioned that before, but like they can't come back and they're like, oh shit, oh okay, like, ugh, I didn't know they thought they were a big tough guy, and then I serve it right back to them. They're totally thrown off. They go into their feminine. They turn weak, um, and you know, obviously that's a guy I just in my experience go, yeah, no, I would never date him. I couldn't. I'm just turned off.
Turnoff, right? Because he's not there to play, not there to volley. There's a fakeness to that interaction.
Yeah, like and the arrogance of like I'm gonna really get her with this
Yeah,
like wise guy comment and then not having the skill to back it up. So everyone can memorize a line, but then when push comes to shove and you actually have to continue that conversation at that level,
hmm
you're going to be in a tough spot. Like you're out if you can't really keep up. So memorizing lines and like pickup artisty kind of things, it's too surface level to give someone an actual skill to be able to do it more than once, you know.
So I know guys would be thinking, oh, well, I have to be like really good at this or I can't do it. Even though we've said, you got to go out and practice, you got to drop the balls a couple times. Only not only yours, but the balls that they're juggling,
Your
right?
balls will finally drop once you drop the balls.
Exactly, exactly. Um, so shit, where was I going with that? We were got distracted with balls. Um,
Per usual,
for
for
you.
you anyway. There you go.
Exactly.
Old gay Dave, that's what they
Right,
call you.
hey.
But
Um, shit, what were we talking about?
my memory's just as bad. So I'm like,
Oh, so guys think they have to be really good at this. And if
right.
they mess it up, it's gonna just kill everything. And that's not necessarily true.
No.
So say a guy, he comes up, you know, he's confident in his delivery, starts this exchange, and you just snipe him, right? And he's like, "Oh shit," right? But there's a level of respect to it, and he says something to the effect of, "Wow, that was really good. I don't have a comeback for that." Is he out at that point, or is he still game?
It depends on his energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would say most of the guys that have said something in passing that they thought was really witty and sharp, and those guys generally have a cheesier personality to me. So I wouldn't be drawn to them anyway,
Yeah.
like that type of person who would do that. So if an honest guy, not this like, you know, cheesed up club hopping kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
pinstripe shirt wearing Verizon wireless cell phone salesman selling person. No, I have no problem if you're selling cell phones. If that guy has a specific energy and a strength about him regarding it, he'll still be on the table. Like physically bent over because I'll be fucking him in the ass because he's a pussy. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Uh, I'm being like dirty on. I usually don't talk this filthy, and
Oh, it's great. The
anyway, um, but
dirty talk,
but
edgy
it's Good
stuff.
Friday. I do have my cruise
Friday. Fuck it.
fix
Let's do it.
on. But he's not out if he's got that energy. And when I say that energy, it's hard to explain and easy to explain at the same time. It's an energy of owning who you are, comfortable in your skin, and not ego driven. So you don't shrink when someone one ups you.
So,
That strength will resonate.
so it's the shrinking, the experience of him shrinking, not standing in his own power as you snipe him. And he's like, yeah, I got you. Like that was like, you got me. That was good. But anyway, and it might take him a second or something and he'll fire something back, right? But maybe right in that moment, he may not quite have it, but he's like, oh, wow, that was good, and it's
Yeah.
still really there with you, really connected, feeling good, has good energy. He's not out at that point.
No.
Yeah.
The what he could do to become out, and I feel so bad for men because I get how this is confusing. But if he was suddenly enamored with me and like, oh my, that like I want to like sit down and try to write comedy with you or something like that is a turn off. It's like don't overdo it with like how taken aback you are at me. Be intrigued,
Mhm.
entertained, and keep it moving forward. Don't roll into, oh my, like, because if I'm, someone who does stand-up comedy, it's not typical for most women to do stand-up comedy. And then I don't look like I would do stand-up comedy. I That's me complimenting myself saying I'm way too pretty to do stand, but I just don't look like I would do stand-up. Nor do I sound like it because I'm not funny. But uh, when when you're in the position of, oh, I don't meet a lot of women like you. Tell me more. Oh my gosh. It feels little boy. It feels juvenile.
Mhm.
And women, they really want to be treated with absolute like gentlemanness. But there's a difference between being gentleman and being someone who's giving too much.
Yeah.
And there's a balance to find. And
Yeah.
so if you're trying to learn how to banter and you're still in that kind of nice guy mindset, you're going to drop more balls than you should because people are going to perceive you as the nice guy and not take you seriously when you say the thing that is you know really witty or pointed or sharp or whatnot. Um, so
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
And as someone who teaches banter, you would think by now I would be tired of talking, but I just talk way too much. So uh,
Before
I
we
just stopped there because I'm like,
recorded this,
stop talking,
we've been
Kristen.
talking for 2 hours
Yes.
before we even recorded this.
I think we were talking for like 4 hours before we were
Probably,
recording.
probably. We're going on 3.5 hours right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where it comes from. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
But it can stop. And as someone who does teach banter, I also do teach knowing when
stop.
to stop. We don't want just a guy trying to be funny, 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 funny,
Diarrhea.
funny.
Yeah,
It's exhausting. And you want to have different notes. She wants to feel different things, different levels. And that,
that's
like
a
you said before,
that's a
banter
really
can take you to those levels.
yeah, that's a really good point. Because there are the guys that is like a jokey, 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 jokey guy that it's like, bro, okay, we got it. You're a funny dude, but you're pretty immature at this point. Like you haven't really connected with me. You haven't
Yeah.
dropped it. Like I want to build some rapport with you, but you're not allowing that to happen. Um, and I find you attractive, but like you're just goofing off so much. Like I can't even get turned on to like drop a sexual innuendo in here anywhere. And those guys, I see them all the time, and it just like you said, there's different notes to be played throughout this conversation of banter. And if you're
Mhm.
not playing those notes, you're not doing what I tell everybody to do, all the guys to do is, you got to be the emotional drug dealer. You got to be deal
Yes.
emotions.
We women want to feel. We love to feel different your unit, but also different feelings. We want to feel understood, and then we want to feel sexy, and then we want to feel teased, and then we want to feel sentimental, and then we're insane. We want to feel all these different feelings in basically one date, one interaction almost. Um,
within 5 minutes.
yeah, but I mean, the men that I've been, the two men that I've loved the most in my life in terms of romantically have been able to provide all of those feelings in one sitting. And it could be a sitting for 5 minutes, like you said. I can feel the depth. I can feel the sensitivity, but it can also feel a little darkness. And I
Sure.
can sense the intelligence through the uh, sharp observations that are clever. And it's like, oh my God, I think I think I just came. Like that was, you know,
Yeah.
so hot. So it's not that you want to be a roller coaster, bipolar all over the place.
No.
It's it's like a controlled thing. It's much more measured than it sounds like it would be, that kind of experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's that awareness of where she's at the whole time, in by watching what's going on and feeling what's going on in that conversation, you can be like, oh, she's feeling a little prideful. I can poke her here, right?
Hmm.
She's feeling a little down. Let me lift her up and tell her, hey, it's everything's going to be okay. And
Hmm.
oh, she just made this like really sexy gesture, and like I felt the turn on, and now I'm going to throw an innuendo in there, sexual innuendo in there. Um, or we're really jiving, and now I'm just going to be like, hey, are you ready to go home and get bent over the couch? Like we're just, you got to be able to deliver that experience.
Yes. And so that's where I go back to me being so glad that you said the word experience, because so many men and women, but they're dating without the experience. They're not giving an experience. She's not feeling different feelings. It's one note and it's a flat note. It's not even a sharp note. It's a flat, almost like, in Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey's like, "Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" Do you know that? Do you
I've
remember?
seen the movie. I don't remember this part, but my
All
brother.
right. Well, first of all, that's you're in trouble because Dumb and Dumber is the best.
I mean,
Um,
it's a hilarious movie, but I just don't remember this part.
so he just makes the most obnoxious sound. He's like,
My
or
brother,
something like that.
my brother
And
just
like,
in the office. He's over here listening and he's laughing his ass off. He's like, "Wah."
yeah, so he knows.
Yeah, he
He
knows.
knows it. So that's the sound of a flat date. It sounds like, like, oh God.
Exactly.
You at least make a date interesting with not maybe not the perfect pitches you're hitting, like, but you're giving her an experience that at least she'll remember.
Mhm.
She won't be bored. She might not want to go out with you again because it wasn't the right experience, but at least it was an experience and she'll have a story to tell her friends. You don't want to be a story, you want to be better than that, but in the process of learning, that's better than staying in that one awful note line.
Exactly.
Politeness can start to sound like that
Yeah.
after a while, especially if you are emotionally tapped in. And so um to get started with banter, really you have to start with the foundation of emotional intelligence
Yep.
and of course in knowing yourself and not filtering yourself, but you do have to
Yeah.
have
I would definitely say, self-awareness is key. Emotional intelligence, social intelligence, um, being able to read micro expressions, some body language. I try not to harp too much on that, but when you really get into the weeds with this stuff, like those are the nuances that always are catching my eye. And
mhm.
uh, yeah, it's super, super important to have a lot of those areas really dialed in to just be a master at banter and using it to your advantage to take her on that ride.
Yeah,
And when you're at that level, you're also taking yourself on a ride. For me,
absolutely. It's your own experience as well, like enhance your own life too.
yeah, for me, like I'm getting a kick out of pushing your buttons sometimes. and I'm feeling good because you responded in a sarcastic way because I wanted you to. And it's like, oh, I got that to happen. And so all of this isn't just about her. It's about you too. You're in the experience as well. And I think so
Yeah.
many guys put way too much effort in catering and placating to her and her experience instead of, hey, you're here too, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you're not in this, she's going to be like, oh, okay, just another guy that's like not here for the right reasons. He's just trying to get my pants, which, well, of course we are, but um, at the same time, like there's a difference between a guy who's involved and a guy who's not when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And a woman is definitely going to love a guy who's involved in it for himself as well, because it's like, oh, he isn't going to be fawning over me 24 hours a day. He's not going to be up my ass all the time, right? He's got his own thing. And when you have that really true, solid, healthy relationship, it is an interdependent relationship. It's not a codependent relationship. And,
Right.
um, you know, those are the kind of cues that she's going to be sorting for you as a guy. And once you come and work with me, you're going to be sorting for that kind of stuff too. Is this woman good for me? And it all comes down to something very simple like banter to get some cues off of people as to who they might really be and what
Yeah.
their capacity is.
Yeah. I have had women come to me over the years saying either my marriage like needs banter, it needs play. And I've worked with women in that regard. I've had women come to me saying they were dumped or they're not seeing the guy they were seeing anymore because they couldn't banter. And so it always makes me proud that that man, is having those standards for himself. Like I want to enjoy myself. I want to be able to flirt and have fun and be playful and tease and and the men that aren't aware of it, like they are missing a huge chunk of life, of enjoyment.
Yeah,
Not, you don't have to love it. It's like everyone's allowed to like their own things. And if you don't care for banter, then it's not your thing and move on and like find someone who also doesn't really care about it. But if that's something that would enhance your life, um, hold the women to the standards.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like if she can't keep up with you, like some guys, well, when I work with guys, which is all the time, but they'll occasionally throw out something clever and the girl won't really get it.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where he did the best that he could do. That's a top tier banter line. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
It's up to him. Like, is that someone that you're still attracted to? Or does that take away from your experience? And some guys will be turned off by it. And some guys are like, no, I'm kind of forgiving. I would say the majority aren't falling into the forgiving category so much. They are having the standards. But if she can't keep up with you,
Yeah.
that's a reflection of what's the rest of your life going to be like if you end up together? Is it just going to be quiet and boring? If you want quiet and peaceful, okay, you can be peaceful and have banter. But um, yeah.
Yeah. It's super important. I mean, I've been on dates where I'm just like, oh my God, like that was a give me and you still didn't get it.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
come
no,
on. Like,
I know. I've had those experiences where I'm like, and then I'm done. I can't.
yeah.
It's like
I
you
mean,
missed that. Like
yeah.
someone, it's like a joke about, or like someone made a comment. It was like National Procrastination Day or something. And the guy totally, that's like a given.
Yeah.
That's an obvious, oh, how'd they even get it on the calendar? Like remark kind of thing or something. But like nothing. And I was just like, oh my God. I feel like my eyes had those spinny things like in the cartoons where it's just like,
Yeah. 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 I mean, and every person, every guy, every woman is going to have their own cadence and like the way they like things. And yeah, you're forgiving a tiny bit on the scale, so to speak, but like not really. You shouldn't be because like you want somebody that can keep up with you, that can play the game, that um, can, like you said, banter back and forth, have fun because that shouldn't end as a relationship goes on. You know, you should always be having a little back and forth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's like a precursor to sex, really. It
It is.
is flirting. It's keeping that spark alive. And of course, everyone can get stuck in their daily routine of monotony. And so it is your own responsibility to notice it and do something about it and
Yep.
bring it back, try to bring it back to life or bring it back to life. Um, in the way that you do that, you know, that's another conversation. But
Yeah, I like that you brought up the topic of women coming to work with you because there are a lot of women that are just not good at bantering,
oh
and
no, like I've them a lot, like
a lot are not.
many.
And we've talked about this. A lot are not. And
Yeah.
I don't want guys to walk away from this video thinking like, oh shit, like women are really good at bantering and I'm not. Like that's not the case. There's a lot of women who
No.
suck at it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's also tricky for men because it's like, set up this great opportunity for banter and it fell flat. It didn't land. So again, that's you filtering if you're going to use it in that capacity or um not but giving her a couple chances. I usually say my given like sounds perverse, like when you give the tugs on the old school lawnmower to get it started, you give it three good tugs.
yeah,
And if it
not all
doesn't,
it takes.
right. I mean, one really. Um,
If it's a good one, absolutely.
yeah. But if you give it three pulls and the lawnmower doesn't start, move on. Like she's no longer a contender. But it doesn't mean you have to run away at the first sight of her not being able to keep up. She might just not be expecting it. There's so many men that can't banter that it's it's a novelty when it comes around, and so women aren't always in that mind frame because they're not expecting it from men. And so with my business, I'm like, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I'm using the slogan make men magnetic again.
I love it.
Because, you kind of picture the stars from the 40s, those old, the classic Hollywood. They always had strong opinions and strong takes. Not necessarily saying they were all funny, all comedians. They weren't all Groucho Marx, luckily, because, we do want to be physically turned on also as no. I would be very attracted to Groucho Marx, although I did hear he was really bad to women, which whatever. But
We got
those men, they were men. It's just that simple. They were men when men were men kind of thing. And banter gives you that. Those men were magnetic. And obviously they're stars, but you can embody that magnetism when you're in the right headspace and you've done the right work and you know how to hold yourself and you know how to charm a girl, but you also know how to not kiss her ass. And
exactly.
you might be uh, teasing her and giving her a hard time, but the look in your eye, the quick look in your eye is like, I want you. Like, and that combination is so hot. Um, and it's magnetic.
Just like the guy behind you, Clint Eastwood. There he is.
I'm revealing my ring light.
Yeah,
No, that's just he wears that circle on his chest.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I have this kind of by default because I found it in the my parents' basement and it's a great photo. But yes, of course he's classically handsome. But like that strength in his eyes, like that is a man. That is magnetic. That is hot. And again, yes, he has a great, but women really can morph what they're attracted to based on a guy's energy and how he's behaving and how he's holding himself. The guys that I mentioned, my two the men that I love the most, not the best looking dudes on the planet. Wildly magnetic.
Yep.
I would have never looked twice at them ever
From just like a physical turn on perspective.
from a physical turn on perspective. Never. It's it was how they held themselves, their ability to bust my balls, to banter, to tease, but also to show that he can and would take care of me at the same time and be in touch emotionally, be emotionally available, um, and walk into a room like they belong in that room. And they weren't arrogant. It was a quiet confidence, a quiet charm, and a charisma from owning who they were, but also being able to tease themselves and self-deprecate and, you know, but yeah, uh, the best.
Where can guys find you?
Well, right now, usually sobbing in the corner because I wish one of those relationships worked out. Some people are, you're a dating coach? No, you're not. Um, but since I am in that corner, you can easily access me through my website because I'll be in the corner crying, but with my phone in my hand. And that's kristenandchilldating.com. And I'll be releasing a banter masterclass at the end of the month slash the beginning of May. So um, it's going to be really good because it's really taken me a lot of fucking work. So
Yeah, your banter guide, which um, guys that have worked with us before, they got that for free. That's a fantastic resource. You did a really nice job with that. So
thank
get
you.
Kristen's banter guide, guys, as a start, and definitely check out what she's got going on. And if you guys want to get good at approaching and develop yourself and develop your own art of approaching, I've got workshops coming up in Bucharest and in LA. You're probably going to be doing more approaching than you've ever done in your entire life. We're going to look at the psychology of it. We're going to look at what holds you back. We're going to make sure that you're connecting well, you're using some banter skills, as well as good emotional awareness and communication with the ladies that you'll be approaching. And look forward to working with you guys in those workshops. Bucharest is already a third of the way sold out. And Los Angeles is coming up in, I think it's June, and then another one in July or September. So check out the website. And
I think I'm going to be at the one in September. I
yeah,
think we,
we're talking about that.
yeah.
Talking about that.
I'm like, just a reminder.
Got
I
out of the
might
bag.
be there, so don't be surprised, but you invited me, so
Yep, exactly. So yeah, Kristen and I are working on putting on something together again. So it'll be exciting. But hope you guys enjoyed this interview and picked up on some of the banter that Kristen and I actually had going on while we were doing this. Some of the innuendos, the jokes, and the funniness, and just little chit chat back and forth.
so meta. Banter while talking about banter.
Exactly. So meta.